Fear can paralyze us, but faith can set us free. Let's hear how Dexter turned pain into purpose. Welcome to Shit Creek Survivors, where we share stories of resilience and tools for resilience.
We're just two dumb guys just sitting around talking about life and how we get through things. And we're not perfect, and nobody is. And we share our tools from our toolbox, and some things that work for us and some things that don't. And that's what we want you to do too, is share some of the tools.
That's what I like. That's what I like. I like conversation.
Yeah. And I had been thinking about it for a while, and not this past March, but the March before, my dad passed away. And I hadn't seen Dennis in a long time, and he came to the service, and I looked at him. I'm like, we need to do a podcast, because he was no longer in law enforcement. And what had happened is we were kind of handling stuff on our own, but on our own kind of like time, we brought Faith back in. And so we kind of started coming back together, with Faith. And we're like, this is so crazy. Yeah, we haven't talked to each other in forever. And then we're both on the same road, and God is what's helping us. And we want to talk about it. So it was a really kind of breath of fresh air. I was like, we should do this. Nobody's talking about this. There are so many people who are suffering. And I had gone through quite a bit of therapy. I didn't understand that when you have trauma, it saves in the same place inside of you. So yeah, I had something happen to me at 5 years old, having to do with an adult teaching two young 5-year-olds an adult game. And then when he found out that he might get in trouble, he threatened us. He actually said that he was going to kill my friend's mom. But beyond that, the biggest thing that stuck with me, and this sounds crazy now that I just said that out loud, but he told us we were sinners, and he told us that if our parents found out, that they wouldn't love us and they would get rid of us. And and I chose to keep that secret, and I kept that secret for 30 years. Even so, no one knew, even after I got shot. I'd gone all the way through, but I was trying to get through this processing, trying to pull apart, like, why is this so stuck? And I was at the end of my rope, and God sort of tapped on my shoulder and reminded me of that memory that I had always kind of pushed back down, hit it. And I walked into my therapist's appointment. I was like, hey, this happened to me when I was young. It probably means nothing. And she looked at me and she goes, that's it right there. And I go, what do you mean that's it? She goes, trauma couples with trauma. So if you're trying to pull it apart like a ball of yarn, I'm working on getting shot, it might get stuck. And that little kid memory popped up. And I really didn't want to deal with that. But I was either going to have to deal with it, or I was most likely going to be leaving this earth by my own hand. I was so lost and so ashamed still. Yeah. Right. And I walked into my therapist, I said it, and it was just the beginning of a very long unraveling, but it was the beginning of it. It's crazy now I can say that if not for being shot, I wouldn't have handled that situation.
That was your Damascus Road Hall situation, man, where you knocked off the horse.
Yeah.
To really have to deal with things. Exactly.
Yeah. And I was ashamed still as a 30-year-old man still standing there. I was crying when I was talking about it. I remember going back to my parents' house. I felt like a 5-year-old. I was like, I got to tell you this. And what was weird is I really felt
5-year-old was coming out. That's the 5-year-old was talking.
I expected them to pick me up and hold me. I mean, that's how deep that pain was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different as an adult, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry that happened. Okay, let's move on. That sort of thing. And then, but you're still kind of trying to sort it out. A 30-year-old secret involving manipulation and kind of like really, as I've gone through this process and gotten closer to God, I was apologizing to God about what had happened when I was 5 years old. And I've had to be coached, be like, no. You're 5 years old. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? I had to be kind of like introduced to the idea that I didn't have control. I was being told by someone I trust, an adult, what, all that kind of stuff. And anyways, long story short, we've decided by sharing these stories, we can help people compared to just kind of sorting them out on our own. Does that make sense?
That's good.
And we're just being gloves. We're just trying to be gloves. The glove is made in the image of a hand, but without the hand in it, it's useless. We're made in the image of God, but without God, we're useless. So we're just trying to be gloves and let His message come through us.
I'm an audio guy as well. I record a lot, just church ministry stuff.
Really? I think I might need your help because
we can make something happen.
I know I could be a lot better at it, and it's just we've been doing it on our own. I have issues sometimes asking for help, I try to just do it on my
for help. Oh my God, breaking news.
Well, it's like it's becoming annoying. You know what I mean? Because it's like I'm literally watching myself get into roadblocks like in situations, and I should just ask for help instead of just trying to sort it out on my own and then go to my friend and be like, how did I do? You know what I mean? Like, why don't I ask for the help in the moment and not waste all my time, try to do it on my own way? And then what's funny is like when I do it on my own, I go to someone, I say, how did I do? And if they tell me I did it wrong, my feelings get hurt.
Right.
So it's like this weird thing, and it has to do with pride and all that kind of stuff. But anyway,
that's you recognize it. That's a good sign.
Well, it's taken a bit, so it's just running in circles, and the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over and expecting a different result, so I don't know why I got to be that stubborn sheep or the one that's away from the flock, but I don't know. Sometimes we're built like that, and I think Dexter might be one of us. So, Dexter, with no further ado, thank you so much for coming on. We got to meet through.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, and we got to meet through Justin. Great guy. We just released that episode. Great information. Awesome. He shared his testimony, and Dexter has been nice enough to bless us with his testimony. And I'm not even sure where it starts, but I know you have a great story. I've heard bits and pieces. If you just want to go ahead, there are no limits, and whatever time happens. If we go for half an hour, that's fine. If we go for an hour, that's fine. Whatever it is. But this is just an opportunity for you to introduce yourself and share what you've been through and the tools you use to kind of get through those situations so that it can help our audience.
Well, my name is Dexter Jones. I'm from Cartersville, born and raised, been here my whole life. I do have a background in baseball. I was a baseball guy, but like we was talking earlier, I had my own childhood dilemmas just with insecurity, self-esteem, didn't really know who I was, but I'm telling you, baseball was like my safe haven. That's why I let it all out, where I performed, did well all through little league, junior league, high school, had a good career, had some opportunities to go to college, but that's kind of where the insecurities took over, in high school. Being a kid that was good in baseball just wasn't a sport where everybody flocked to. So just trying to find my way, I started linking up with people that I thought at the time, there was the in crowd, the girls loved them. They was at all the parties. They would drink and come to school. So around my freshman year, my freshman and my sophomore year, I had good years. I was ineligible my sophomore year for a short period of time, but I still bounced back really well. But my junior and senior year is kind of, what's the word that I would want to use? Where the wheels started to kind of rattle a little bit. The summer of my junior year, I had a good year in baseball, but that summer, I started experimenting with, let me rewind it. I come from a background, my mother and father, I had a loving home, but my father's side of the family, they deal with alcohol, they drank. But the alcohol was kind of what triggered everything for me. That was my trigger. I started like really my junior year, the summer of my junior year, after school was out, just hanging out with guys, staying out a little late. My folks kind of started getting on my need to come home. Going into my senior year, it was pretty rough. I mean, I had a pretty good year going, but man, I would stay out late, not come home, start smoking a lot of marijuana, quit baseball with like 3 games left in the year. Just had got so consumed with hanging out, partying, getting high, uh, and it just lost focus. And had to go to summer school that year to graduate. But after that, after I graduated, man, I was introduced to cocaine, putting cocaine in my marijuana. And that's just when the wheel fell off. I battled that. And then from cocaine to putting crack in it. So I battled it, fought it for like 7 years. And those the last 4 of the 7 years was the biggest struggle. Just an insecure 22-year-old, scared, really didn't have my parents in my ear like I feel like they should have been just about college, pursuing college, and just got off focus. Got consumed with the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
The whole party lifestyle too.
Say it again.
The whole party lifestyle with that group of people and the girls and stuff like that. I can say the same thing about my younger self too. I kind of was the partier too. I
Right.
relate to you in that.
Right. So just being consumed, man, I'm telling you, the changing factor in my life, man, is one thing that my mother did with us, is she taught us the word of God. You got to think this was in the late 80s, early 90s when hip hop was hot, and everything that was projected at that time was just so seducing to a teenager to want to do everything that you were seeing. But we grew up going to church, going to vacation Bible school. We was faithful. But her teaching really, man, is what kept me from just totally going overboard. In which I felt like that I was overboard because I was just out of control and couldn't get myself together. And I'm telling you that the last 3 years of those 7, what she had put in me warred with addiction. I'm telling you, I couldn't have no peace in it. I would do it and do it till I didn't have money. And then you start hanging out with guys. Never got in trouble. And I thank God that's what really kept me. And I know a lot of my friends probably thought, this guy got to be the police. Because every time we get in trouble, he seems to escape it. But I always knew, man, I got to go. I got to get out. But you was mentioning a while ago, just conversation and talking, man. It's so important for us to be able to sit down and just talk about our different struggles and what we've been through. One of my favorite scriptures is Revelations 12:11. It says, "Many are warned by the words of your testimony. Many overcame by the blood of the Lamb." So now this November will be 32 years. 32 years addiction free. Now, in them 32 years, it's been a process. He's
I
still
bet.
working on me. Like I said earlier, we're not perfect, but we strive every day to get better. And the more that we talk to God and have a relationship with Him, it strengthens us and we mature. But I think sometimes now, man, 32 years, you just sharing your testimony. You just beginning to share. 32 years ago, I never thought that I would be on this platform. I never thought, through that, all the shame that I brought on myself and my family, and I know I let a lot of people down because my name was always in the paper during baseball season. You know what I mean? I could perform, and it was just a family gift from my father's side and my mother's side. They all played baseball. But I think of the scripture in Romans that says all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and who are called according to their purpose, to His purpose. You got Cam, you got Dennis. Y'all been through what y'all been through. Y'all law enforcement, you come to God and come to Christ. Man, this is what it's all about. 32 years, this November the 6th, for me, will be 32 years. I hadn't done no cocaine, smoked weed. I hadn't done any of that. And for 7 years of my young life, when I was a kid, it had me consumed.
Well,
Do you still feel a pull
congratulations.
for it
I
at
mean,
all?
that's huge.
It is huge.
32
Yeah.
years. Anyone listening right now, I mean, that is just a beacon of hope. That means that if he can do it, other people can do it. Just follow, day by day. I know Dexter had to do his own walk and all that kind of stuff, but just by sharing that information, I know that you've dropped a nugget in someone's lap. So thank you.
And like
You're more
you
than
still
welcome.
feel silent, kind of like, not, I don't want to say a draw to it. You still like are missing it or something like that. I don't want to say it that way because I know you don't miss it, but you still feel like any kind of like pull that direction towards the party's atmosphere or anything like, oh, I
Man,
could just.
I knew on November 8th is when I received Christ. And I knew that I would never go back because it had consumed me for those 4 years. The cocaine part of it had consumed me to like, man, I don't ever want to. Man, I had to battle, man. My mom used to have to come in my room, and I'm 19, 20, 21, 22 to pray me to sleep. Like I was under just like Cam was talking about. I think we was at the coffee shop when he said like the demonic activity. Like,
Mhm.
man, I'm telling you, it would be so bad. I had a big chair in my room where I would fold my clothes and put them in there, man. And sometimes, man, I would be on it and try to lay down and go to sleep and look over. It was just like the enemy looking at me like a demon. So, I mean, I never wanted to go back. I would never go back. I don't have the urges. I know what to stay away from to trigger anything. That's me having to be disciplined and having self-control. Say, look, man, I don't even try to unless God send me to talk to somebody or show somebody some love. I go because that's where the battle is. That's where the next generation of people are that's in the gutter, that's going through these different struggles. Man, we gotta get them. Our testimony is what's gonna win.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. They gotta feel that they're normal, that they're part, that some of the things they're going through isn't like unique to just them.
Right,
We're communal creatures, and this is why this platform is so fun and to do, because we're getting to just talk and BS. We're not perfect, but you're saying things that are hitting a chord in my heart, and I've never even met you before this moment. So
right.
we're more connected than we realize,
Yeah.
and just
Man,
talking and figuring it out.
platforms like this to me, platforms like this to me. Now, this is just me because I like to talk. I like to be engaged. I like to talk to other people to hear how they overcame. To me,
Yeah.
this is the new ministry. You going out of the four walls of church to reach people that probably would never come in. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
That's the
So
hope.
Well,
not
organized churches have kind of hurt a lot of people in some ways, or their perspectives more than they realize, I think. And as we hear that story a lot too, like I even felt that way. Like I grew up
and
in a
not to,
religious house, and I kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
made a
yeah.
conscious decision to step away in my mind. I don't know how I justified it, but I knew I'd come back, and now I'm
Right.
coming back, and now I feel like it's harder now because I probably never should have left, and that's the sin that I have to overcome now, I guess, in some ways. But
One day at a time. That's it.
yeah,
You just have to deal with it one day at a time. And it's not to throw shame or shade on any ministry. That ain't what I'm saying. But
me neither. I don't mean that either. I apologize if
right.
people think that.
Just
There
to
there are some examples of it where it gives people bad taste in their mouth, and now this is completely different. We're not structured like you have to be in this walls, you have to dress this way, you have to say these words, you have to kneel at this time. We're just no, we're just human beings. This is some struggles, this is some love. Here's how it overcomes. This is where God helps, and it hits a chord for people.
You know what
So I
it's
agree
kind of
with you. This
like?
is like a new
It
ministry.
it's like if you found water in the desert. You know what I mean? We're
hmm
leading people to the water, something that's
boy, that's
essential.
good.
You know what
That's
I
real
mean?
good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
And
then
what these discussions you won't hear these in church.
right,
You're not gonna
absolutely.
hear it unless they develop platforms for in ministry where you have these kind of conversations. So I mean, I'm glad we crossed paths. Really, I am because it's needed. It's needed in all cultures. I mean, even us getting together, black culture, white culture, man, that's tearing down walls now. Because I mean, addiction and sin has no color.
At all.
It doesn't, man. It's attacking everybody's kids. And sometimes grown-ups can be so stuck on the way things work instead of moving, you know, the way God would want us to move, man, to help each other and love each other, to
We all bleed
make
red.
the communities, make the world a better place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, during my near-death experience, there was no indication of people's colors or anything like that. It was just love. And it was just a ocean of love. And you're not even worried about loving yourself because you're loving everyone around you. And because that's happening, everyone's loving you. It's just, you know what I mean? And then you're reminded, like I came back to earth. I'm like, man, no one is better than another person. You know, we all have the same worth. We are all created with what powerfully and fearfully, you know, like we all bleed the same. Like it's not, it's just such a silly boundary that we've put up. But
this world, it's the worldly stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the worldly
It
deceit
is.
is caused with a purpose to distract us from the Bible and from being love and showing love and sharing
That's
love.
it. That's real.
Yeah, if we would just focus on the adversary, which is the devil, or the accuser, it kind of brings us together. It's like weird. If a country has an adversary, the country tends to come together. Like if we're, if we're fighting the Russians during the 80s, we're all tight as Americans. The movies are awesome. You know, it's like, let's go America. But then at some point that went away. Yeah, and we've come in on one another. And now we're like, it makes no sense. And yeah,
we need to
so
bond
it just
together,
continues.
have our common enemy, which we do, but some people don't realize it because we're so wrapped up in our world and worldly things and the job and making money and paying bills, and which is all important stuff to do. But at the same time, we got to stay grounded and realize we're here for a purpose, and we're here to share love and be love and understand love and know love and know God. Say Jesus instead of love, and that was and all that sentences. It's the same thing.
That's good. That's good stuff. It is. I was thinking, I mean, this just came to me, man. You was talking about the shame of what you went through, Cam, and I felt that just in failing in baseball and not pursuing at the time. I felt the shame, and really, man, I had this is the maturity of Christ. As I've gotten older and my relationship has grown, I had regrets, man. I couldn't even go to the Braves game for a long time, like in my 20s and 30s. But I thinking, like, man, this game was easy, man. If I'd have just if I'd had a, you know what I'm saying, just the ifs. But I had dealt with that for a long time in my walk with God, just that part of it. But then when I accepted Christ, I traveled and played softball for about 10 years, 8 to 10 years, and it was good. It satisfied that itch for the moment. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was good, but I just think about it now, man. Just like for the past, that was 32 years ago. So this November will be 10 years that I've kind of given myself to the community. Mentoring in the high school, Cartersville High, some at Cass, some at Woodland. Awesome. But I've been able to, keep kids active in baseball, working them out in the summer. I've never really developed a travel team, but I just tried to get kids that couldn't afford the $5,000, $6,000 to play travel ball, just to keep them active and keep them involved. Because really, in my time, once All-Star was over, we was on to the next season. So if you didn't play football or basketball, you had a lot of idle time. And that's kind of what got me jammed up as a teenager, just idle time. But I try to keep them busy and try to sow good seed in their lives. And that's just my way of giving back. I never would have thought that it would have been that way. Just like I was saying, I didn't think that this would have been my platform. But it is what it is.
Well, we're not supposed to decide our platform. We're not supposed to decide what our purpose is. It was already given to us.
You're exactly right.
Get perverted by the evil one, and we need to recognize that, and we need to realize where we fit in, and just be the glove.
Coming to this point now, though, but the regrets are gone because I understand that was a part of my past. I had to go through that.
Yeah,
I had to go through that, and God deal with my heart to be able to give back and talk about that. See, that's
Yeah.
what a lot of times, man, we go through things, people go through things and
I
deal
was
with the
just
shame.
I was just watching a
Go-
documentary about the Chiefs, and Coach Andy Reid said, "If life was always nothing but roses, you wouldn't appreciate the roses. So you have to have the
Mhm.
hard times to appreciate the good times." And
Exactly.
you're right. That is the maturity of growing older and learning more about ourselves and our lives and stuff. Is you
Right.
have to go through some of those bad times to become a better person.
You're absolutely right.
Gardener prunes the plant so it'll grow the right way and stuff. My
Right.
wife is always out pruning the cucumbers for our pickling.
Hmm.
Picks the buds at first to get it to grow the right way and get up on the vines and start growing better. So it had to be damaged to grow.
Hmm.
Literally.
Right.
So do
Right.
we. So do
That's
we.
good. That's good stuff, man.
And that's shame. I mean, I know what you're talking about. And it just kind of like I felt it with police work, like how did I do this to myself? How did I become like an alcoholic after I got hurt and wasn't able to return? I like felt like I was losing my dream. I felt like a victim in a lot of it. And then I felt a lot of shame when I was able to kind of
Hmm.
stand up and be like, it was because of me. You know what I mean? Like it
Right.
was because of me. Uh,
Right.
and it took a long time, and I thought I had lost something that I really like was essential to my life. I'd always planned on, my dad was a police officer, in federal capacity, and I had all that shame. And I don't know when it happened, but it's still kind of recent and it's developing. It's like accepting the idea that everything that happened was meant to be. That although I thought the plan was for me to be a police officer and maybe me move up in the staff and all that kind of stuff, that was not God's plan for me. I didn't screw up God's plan. It
Hmm.
actually wasn't my plan that I got to carry out. And that's it's hard to accept, especially when you're feeling that shame. And the accuser is like, this was your fault. You could have done this. You could have done that. You're always wanting to look back at what could have been, what could I have changed, and all that kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
man, that's what the devil wants you to do is keep looking back, keep wanting you to change what can't be changed. That means you're not focused on the present here and today, nor the future,
Hmm.
and so it's kind of like, we've talked about the idea of being picked on or picked. What if we signed up almost subconsciously or even before we came to this earth and said, give me the toughest road? Because
Hmm.
by that way, I'll be able to serve the most people. And the toughest road would be giving you something that you really, really adore, something you love, something that you believe, something that everyone told you is amazing, something that you identified with.
Hmm.
And then it was taken. It felt like,
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And what's funny is recently Pastor James talked about the whole idea that, you know, when you go to eat, you could eat as much as you possibly can. You filled to the gills, but what's going to happen 10 hours later? You're going to be hungry,
Yeah.
right? You can fill yourself with alcohol for 24 hours. What happens when you wake up the next day? You got to do it again. You can do drugs one day. What happens when you got to do, the next day or later on that day? You got to
You
do it
gotta
again.
yeah. You gotta fill
So
yourself up with
see,
It
something, so you might
never
as well pick the good stuff.
it
so we
never fills the void though.
no,
It
because
never there's nothing with addiction, whatever choice of drugs people use. Mine was cocaine and crack at my worst. And when I would come down off cocaine, even if I was snorting and smoking, man, I'm telling you, it was what's a word that I could use to really, man, it would make me cry.
yeah, it's
I would be
terrifying.
so depleted, scared, not knowing what to do. My mother, like I said, she would have to come in there and pray me out of that. And I might be all right for a couple of days, but the weekend come, I'll be on another binge. But there's nothing, man. Just overcoming shame. Everything that you face, man, to overcome it, man. Like I said, you got to face it, man, and that's where your faith grows. That's where your self esteem in God rises. It's just got to be faced, because man, I think that, man, people used to talk about me because my mother was so active in church, and people would say, how is she gonna be faithful if she is and her son out here doing drugs? And she told me one time, she said, that's when I started praying and asking the Holy Spirit to show me. Man, she started finding my little stashes. And I thought that I was hiding it, like, but she was finding it. And once I admitted to her, this kind of when she talked to me, conversing like we're conversing, she told me she loved me. And whatever I done, God was still going to use me. She was just encouraging, because you got to think, in the 90s, there was no peer support. There was nobody talking about helping people with anything, mental health, other than, the couple of little places that used to be around back in the day. But people would say, and then when I got saved, people would say, now he all in church. They would talk about me when I got my life right. They would talk about me when I was doing drugs. So, as I've grown, man,
People's opinions of ourselves is none of our business.
It's so
100%.
weird. And I'll even come up with someone else's opinion of me, and I will chastise them for it. I'll be like, you shouldn't, you know what I mean? I'll project my insecurities onto someone looking at me, and I'll be like, oh, they're talking trash in their head or something like that. But it's usually an insecurity. Like, they know I'm an alcoholic. Yeah.
Right.
And then I almost lash out at them. I'm like, you shouldn't think that way about me. And nothing ever happened. You know what I mean? So it's like this mental warfare that's going on.
It's like
but
that.
You know what?
But
the more that you stay in God's word and stay in his presence, even serving others is so fulfilling. I'm 54 years old. And I was a 20, I think when I got saved, I was November 93. I was 23, 22, turning 23 the next year. So everything that hindered or bothered me then no longer exists. I can talk about it because when you pour out the people, you heal. Like this right here, even now we talking, I'm just like you say, you can feel what I feel. I can feel what you guys have experienced and gone through, but it's helping me because we're not finished products. We're going to be fighting this fight till we leave.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff that came along with addiction, man. Like the insecurities, the lack of love for yourself. Man, I don't struggle with that anymore. And it took me till I was 45 to really understand purpose. And when my parents died, my mother died in 04 of May. My daddy died in 14 of May, 2 days after. And I went through like a 6-7 year depression and grief, man, because I had never been without family. I had a big family on both sides, but just when I realized I had started mentoring and it helped me, Cartersville Middle School. And one day the Holy Spirit just said, man, this is why you went through what you went through. I didn't understand. I did not understand. But after that scripture that scripture that you just quoted, we are fearfully and wonderfully made in Psalms, I think it's Psalm 119. Man, I felt that because I was at such a low after they passed, because I had never been. That was like, addiction was like an introduction to Christ. When they passed and I went through that dark depression and grief, man, it was like we met. He talked to me, like, not that he hadn't spoken to me before, but he lifted me. You remember the old song, and I know y'all probably do, the old song that says, his love lifted me.
Yeah.
You remember that, Brian?
Yeah, higher.
Yes, it's a lot of songs like that. But that's where I found it. That's when I started realizing, man, this is what I'm supposed to do for him.
Isn't it like
And
a
at 54, man,
moment too?
Yeah, mental resurrection.
Well, it's
wisdom and understanding.
What did Wesley Snipes say in White Man Can't Jump? You can't, you're listening, but you're not hearing it. You hearing me? Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. It's just different, and that's all how I have to explain it. It's just different. It's all of a sudden you can see something that you couldn't see before. All of a sudden you can feel something that
Right.
you couldn't feel before. All of a sudden stuff starts to make sense, even though it was bad stuff. It starts to make sense when it didn't before.
Right.
It's
Right.
crazy.
You're absolutely right.
And it's funny
Man, let me
how
ask y'all something right quick. After that phone rang, this record went back to 6 minutes. We didn't lose that other 30 minutes, did we?
no, sir. No, it
Well,
actually it sends it through in like packages. So it basically like will take that and send it, and then it'll send the next one.
we feasting today. This some gumbo.
Yeah, I like that. This is gumbo.
This is
Yeah.
gumbo.
But yeah, man,
I was gonna say, do you have a good story
what would you
from
say, man?
do you have a good story from the middle school kids? Like somebody that like where you really struck a chord with them, or they really kind of heard your message a little bit better than you thought they would, or
Man, I followed all of the, because I knew what it was like to have, my daddy taught me baseball, and he coached me all the way up till I was like 12. From 7 to 12, he coached me. But I always went after the kids that didn't have fathers. Like I got a niece that graduated 2017 from Carterville High School. Now I hadn't got the stories yet, but I
the
had to
seeds are
realize
planted.
even in mentors, you took it right out of my mouth, man. It's all
Sorry.
about sowing seed.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
we
all
see that
about
a lot
sowing
here too.
seed. I mean, it's a lot of kids. This what is my niece? She's 27, 26, 27. She'll be 27 in September. But just a lot of her peers and a lot of the athletes, man, they had a good class. They had some good athletes. But it's just so hard on kids, young men and women, when there's not a father in their life. Their confidence they can be spectacular, but they still don't have that self-esteem strength in who they are. So that's what I always try to do, man. I always try to give them some correction, help them navigate their way through some of the things that they're facing. Do they all pass the test?
No,
Right.
but
They're
if they
gonna be
retain
kids,
those
and
tools, they retain those tools in their toolbox, and
exactly
later on it'll come around. They'll go, oh, now that makes
it'll
sense.
come back. It'll come back. So that's what
It,
it's been for me, man. I'm so glad Justin Kimball came back to Carterville because he been gone for a while. And him and my middle sister, they graduated together. They went to school together. And man, when you connect with people with a like-minded heart for really serving God and not serving to be seen, and the connections that I've made with people,
That's when the magic
I'm
happens.
proud. I'm really serious, man. I'm proud of this right here. I
yeah.
like this. I really do. I like conversing about life and just sharing who I am and what I've been through.
And isn't it kind of, you mentioned being able to mentor these kids and, your niece being like 22 years old and that sort of stuff. You probably, we're running around, we're 22 years old, we make decisions, we think we've ruined our life, you think it's over, all these kinds of stuff. And then we're given the gift later in life to look at a 22-year-old in real life. And you see them, you're like, you are a kid, man. Like, and you kind of are able to give yourself a little bit more grace and mercy because you see kind of where you were at. You also see the fear because there's a lot of fear, especially in kids these days. I don't want to make the wrong choice. You know what I mean? There's so much pressure, especially like high school, moving into college. Where do I got to go? And there's just like, they're just really
Not just
tight.
kids.
Yeah, I know. And I'm doing it every day too. But, it all stems, I think a lot of it stems from fear.
Of course, that's a believer's number one enemy. Is
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah.
Paul said, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but that of love, power, and sound mind." Timothy, I mean, man, fear. I can remember being so afraid when it came down to me graduating, and going to college that I didn't know what to do. So I just
Shut down.
bamboozled
Run
everything.
away.
I shut
Yeah.
down and I said, I'm gonna get high. I'm gonna party until I can. And I got into it. I got in it not too deep. I was deep enough, too deep is not, how can I say this? I was in deep, but not too deep to be rescued by God. But fear, it paralyzes. It's an enemy of faith. So that's what we have to do, man. That's why I said, man, with your insecurities, everything that you did, what you got to face. You got to face them in order to see that you don't have to be afraid. Man, I would have never. I'm 50. I started this, man, like really being vocal about 5 years ago when I realized, man, people got to hear my testimony, and it ain't something that I was just running after. It was like God persuaded me and showed me this is what it is.
That's so funny.
I wouldn't do this 5 years ago. I would have said, no, I'm not doing this. Just
no, listen to this
insecure
really
about.
quick.
Go
Listen to this
ahead.
really quick. So Justin, I'm meeting with Justin. He didn't tell me he was calling Dexter, right? So Dexter shows up about half an hour after we're chatting. 5 minutes before, he's like, "Oh, I let my buddy know that he should come up here. He's got a great testimony. I wanted to meet you," like that sort of stuff. And Dexter walks in. Justin, he sits down. Justin looks at him. He's like, "Hey," and kind of gives him the rundown. Dexter, without saying a word, looks at me, looks at Justin, looks back at me, looks at Justin, said, "I was just praying about opportunities to share my testimony." and I was like,
really was.
I was like,
and
that's
it's
so
like
funny.
These different platforms
Yeah.
are opening up. But at one point in time, I wouldn't have done it.
No.
Fear. Just fear of insecure about speaking about everything that I've been through. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Have you ever heard the acronym?
That kind of stuff.
Have you ever heard the
evidence appearing real?
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that.
False evidence appearing real. When I heard that, I think I was in an AA meeting and that was an acronym for fear. I was like, huh, that kind of makes sense.
False evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. My pastor, he mentioned that a lot in ministry. False evidence appearing real.
Yeah. That's good stuff because
it's good stuff, man.
And I find that
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, it's funny how we can be so scared, and then like me, I found alcohol, which made me less scared. And so I kept using it. You know what I mean? That's really what it came down to. I might have said I'm in control. This is how I roll. I'm Scottish and, I drink and all that kind of stuff. But I was alcohol made me feel less fear. Now, the problem with using a substance compared to using faith is that void will continue to need to be filled with more drugs. And then what happens is when you decide you've gone so far and you have to turn it around, that is the most terrifying moment because you've taken yourself farther down a line into fear by using a numbing agent in a way that all of a sudden you're like, okay, not only now do I have to get back on my feet, but now I'm an addict. Now I got to deal with that too. And all this kinds of stuff. And what's funny is those are the moments that we are most willing and able to hit our knees and say, I don't know what's going on here, but if you are real, God, I need help. Please. You know what I mean? And you're willing to do that cry of faith that if you're there, please give me something. And in my life, when I sincerely hit and my knees and repented and I was trying to get totally sober using a chair as my higher power, it wasn't going to take me the distance. I knew it. Everyone else was talking about this thing that I didn't believe in. I felt like I didn't deserve as well. But in that moment of absolute just fear, I hit my knees and I said, I need help. I don't care how it comes through. If I can see it, if I can understand it, I don't care if I understand it. Just please let this get better. And things started getting better. And I wasn't alone anymore walking through that fear, and you find out that fear is I've heard this before and I really like it because fear appears to be a very, very deep piece of water, whether it be a lake or an ocean. It seems deep. There's no way I'm going to survive this. But it's funny when you grab, God's hand or you try that first step or you hit your knees for the first time and you take that first step and you find out the water's about 2 inches deep.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
man, I can't believe that this had me. You like,
Yeah.
I can't believe that this held me captive for so long.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we all worship something.
It's true.
We all worship something. People worship money. They worship porn. They worship addiction. They worship whatever. We're all worshiping something. So choose love.
Right.
Choose God, and that'll fill your void better than any pursuit of money, Wall Street, alcohol, marijuana, any of it.
Any void that you have in your life that you're trying to fill with something else, I'm telling you, from an insecure, scared, fearful, rebellious, he will fill you up, man. He will fill you up. I mean, not like we said before, I'm not perfect, but I seek him every day for a better direction and seek his face and in his word to strengthen me to be what he wants me to be for these times. I mean,
So
that's the only way. I mean, everything that I tried, from drugs, shopping, I had this, like when I got out, I used to shop because I thought that I had to have things to make me important or make people accept who I was, like me better, for better words. Man, he will fill you up, but you have to go through. I had to go through them after my parents. I had to go through when my parents died. I had to go through that to really realize what his love is and to love yourself.
yeah.
Because
That's where it
our
has to
job is to
start.
love our neighbor. We love God, love ourselves, and love the neighbors, our people, the people that we come in contact with. That's it. Man, we got some good meat today.
Yeah.
Gumbo. I like gumbo.
It's
gumbo.
It's tempting to
Speaking
keep
of
going,
meals,
but
speaking of meals, I gotta say the parable real quick. I don't know if you've watched all the episodes, Dexter, but there's a parable that I share about what heaven and hell is like, difference between heaven and hell, that I heard from a pastor when I was probably 14 years old. This pastor, Pastor Meyer, he in Topeka, Kansas, he was a missionary in Eastern cultures for a lot of his life, and he said that he heard a parable there that stuck with him, and he wanted to share it with us. Hell is like a huge banquet right in front of you. You're hungry, you want to eat, but the only thing you can eat with is these really long chopsticks. So you can't reach your mouth with the chopsticks. So you're frustrated, you're hungry, you're angry. All those bad feelings are there. But in heaven, it's the exact same banquet, the exact same meal, and the exact same chopsticks. But instead of trying to feed yourself, you're feeding your neighbor across the table.
That's good,
So there's
man.
love, there's sharing, there's community, all of that. And I just got goosebumps sharing that one. I love that.
Man, that's good. You're going to have to write that down for me, bro.
Well, you're going to be able to. Dexter's episode is going to have all kinds of good nuggets in it. All kinds of good nuggets. It's going to take a lot to digest.
It's God. Did God get the glory, bro? It ain't about me. It's just about sharing what he did for me. That's it.
Just be the glove and let him work through you. Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
So we're going to keep doing that. We're going to move into the future. Dexter's going to be doing his thing, the glove. We're going to be doing the glove, and we might run into each other again and have you back on.
Man,
because
we got to.
Yeah, you're going to have stuff to report.
Again.
Yes.
We got to do it again. Man, you got to connect with people, man. You got to, because I'm telling you, man, this is legit. This is legit. I enjoy it.
I was having a bad day the other day in the truck, and Cameron gave me one of the stickers, like the placards that we have behind us, and I have it on the back of my truck. And this guy was like, pull right next to me. He's like, roll down the window. I'm like, what's this idiot want? Like, what did I do now? What's going on? Like, that's what my first thought was. Like, I did something wrong. He's going to yell at me, all that stuff. He goes, hey, I watch your podcast. You guys are doing good stuff. Thank you. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I was on the phone with my wife at the time too. So she
lifted you up, didn't it?
Yeah. It just, but again, it's not for me to feel lifted up. It's, I'm just being the glove. It's working through me. But it did change my perspective in that moment to be a little bit more aware that, things aren't always just going to be bad. Don't expect bad all the time. I mean, like, be open to whatever it's going to be, and be ready to deal with it whenever it happens.
Man, you got me chilling up. Chill bomb. It's good. It's just good. It's good. So I'm looking forward to, you know.
All right, buddy. All right, buddy. Well, thank you for making time for us today. Thank you for blessing us and the audience with the story. So what I'll do is when I am about to put the episode up, I will send you over the link for it and all that kind of stuff. So you can post it if you want to, Dexter. But really, this has just been a great opportunity, because who knows who this could help. And if it helps one person, then that's more than enough. You know what I mean?
And it's helped us. And it's helped us here just to feel a little bit more rejuvenated.
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It makes you feel, man, when you connect with people and you converse, man, that you're not in the battle by yourself.
Thanks for listening. If Dexter's story inspired you, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Give us a like if the story resonated, and share it with someone who needs a boost of courage today. Check out more stories and tools for resilience at www.shitcreeksurvivors.com. Remember, your journey matters. Keep going and stay resilient.